you're wondering if I got bangs, I didn't. This is just called postpartum.
Can you give us a smile, bud?
There you go.
Oh, that's a smile. What have we got going on here, buddy? So curious.
Actually funny. We had lots of people that were concerned at how Derik is holding Jack's neck. No, you're not doing anything wrong. The funny thing is they're like, oh, it looks so painful. But I think they don't know that his neck would just bob around and snap if Derik didn't hold it.
Very unsupported right now.
Oh yeah.
That's a big smile.
Oh.
Good job, bud. That's good. Wow.
Jack.
Uh-oh. Where's the binky? Get the binky. Get the binky. Okay. Here you go. Here. Oh, that's good.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel, you guys.
Welcome. Welcome,
Jack, say hi. Oh, upside down. Ah. Hi.
Hi, buddy. Binky boy. Oh,
You so happy right before.
you hate YouTube, huh? It's not fun.
He's shy.
Oh, Binky down.
This is a struggle to the start of a YouTube if I've ever
Probably
seen
the
one.
best intro ever. Bless you.
Did he just spit his binky?
Bless you. Yeah.
Here you go, buddy.
Today we are going to be talking about the birth and everything that happened, all the details of that. It was a pretty wild experience.
Jack is sad that you're cutting off his head. He wants to be in the frame.
Sorry, buddy. The last month and a half has just felt like the biggest blur.
Yeah.
Like we don't really know what time is. We don't know what day it is usually. We're kind of just running around in survival mode, trying to make sure that this little guy is happy.
Yep.
He's doing better, but he's got a few things going on that have made it kind of hard. Sarah told me that I need to get rid of all the dirty diapers in the back.
That's nasty. No one wants to be listening to his story
There's
with
probably-
dirty dipes.
I always forget to throw them away. I'm really bad at it.
Jack's embarrassed. He doesn't want that.
Sorry, buddy.
That's private business.
This is from one night.
It's actually crazy.
Diapers! Buddy, look what you've done!
Ew. Now he's embarrassed.
Sorry.
Okay, so on Friday, October 16th, I pretty much didn't sleep the whole night and I woke up with contractions starting at 4 a.m. And then, I have short-term memory loss. Anyway, so I started having contractions at 4 a.m. But I had had a lot of Braxton Hicks going on like days prior, and our hospital is an hour away, and so in my head I was not wanting to drive all the way there and then just have them turn us around. Anyway, so me being me, not thinking these contractions were any different, just was going about my regular morning.
You go about your regular morning when you're in labor. She cleaned the whole entire house.
Okay, yeah, I was cleaning, ultimate nesting going on. I was putting away all the baby clothes, all the baby stuff in this dresser, getting it all ready while like having contractions. I was kind of just like breathing through them, and Derek's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I think they're just the Braxton Hicks. I didn't think they were close enough. I was trying to like time them. Some were close, some were far. It was funny because our friends, the Mealies, came over. They were visiting Hawaii, and they came in. We were so excited to see them, and I was literally just mid-labor, and I was talking to Maddie, like going back and forth, and I just kept having contractions, and she's like, dude, let me time these for you. Maybe you guys should go. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And I was like, okay, let's just go. Let's just see. And we called the hospital, and I was telling them what was happening. They're like, yeah, like you could wait a while. Like it just depends. Like how strong are they? And I was like, well, I've never had a baby before, so I don't know like it hurt, but I was just like, whatever. Then we turned around.
Yeah, we were halfway there and we turned around
and
because
went back
we're like,
home.
ah, maybe this is not happening.
Well, we were only like 10 minutes away from our house, which is not bad.
I'm exaggerating.
So we went home, and then the contractions just like did not stop. It was like 2 hours after that was when we decided to actually go to the hospital, because I was like, you know what, they're just not stopping, and my Braxton Hicks hadn't been like that, so I knew it was probably different, and I'm over my due date, so it just made sense. Yeah. So we got to the hospital, and Derik had to wait in the car again because of COVID.
That was just so insane. Like,
give your spiel on the little car. Sitting there wondering if he's gonna be a dad today.
Yeah, it was awesome. I literally had to wait in the car for an hour and a half. I was just sweating profusely. It was probably the longest hour of my life.
At this point, I still was not sure if I was like in labor.
It was like so much anticipation, just sitting in the car.
And so I would like FaceTime Derik and be like, no, I don't know, but sorry if we drove all the way up here, like I'm gonna feel bad. And the nurse finally came in, and I was kind of expecting her to just be like, you're not ready yet, like just go home.
Yeah.
And then she checked me and she's like, okay, so you're almost dilated to an 8. She goes, how have you not been dying? And I was just like, oh, I don't know. Because obviously this is my first baby, and I was just kind of breathing through the contractions as they were happening.
Sarah feels no pain.
I felt it, I just didn't, maybe I just didn't know.
I didn't know
how strong was
I would
strong.
have been gone to the hospital if I was dilated to a 1.
All the nurses and doctors were kind of saying like, all right, like kind of pumping me up, saying like, oh, this could happen like soon, you know? I'm like, okay, so I'm like calling Derik like, hey, get in here, we're having a baby. And in my head, I was assuming because I was dilated to an 8 already, that it was gonna be pretty quick.
I got our stuff from the car and literally like sprinted into the hospital, got in there as fast as I could, put everything down, and I was like, all right.
Not that quick, but
no, I was like
pretty quick.
I thought she was gonna have the baby within a half an hour. I had no idea how it worked. And so I was like, oh, she's dilated to an 8. I know that means 2 more points and she gets to have the baby.
2 more points.
And so I got in there really quick.
2 more points.
10 out of 10. Once you get 10 points, you get to have the baby. And she was at 8. So I was like, this could be really quick because it's been all morning.
Wait, I can't.
I was stoked, I was ready.
Oh
but
my gosh.
Then the nurses were like, well, it might be within the next few hours. You never really know. Freaking takes all day.
Jack's awake now. There's an update.
He got a good 15-minute cat nap. All he needs, right?
So it was kind of just like hour after hour, Derik and I were just chilling in the hospital, and I'm like, okay, and I'm getting so tired because I was already tired before, and then, you know, being in there forever. A lot of the doctors and nurses were actually just coming up to me, and they kept saying like, do you want to do this natural? Like, you can handle pain, your pain tolerance seems to be good, like, do you want to just go for this natural? I feel like you could do it. And in my head I was like, oh my gosh, like, can I do it? But then I was like, why? For me, I wanted to get the epidural just because I don't really want to be in pain.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, well, if I can just get something that helps with the pain, then I'm gonna do that. So that was my plan going in, was to get the epidural. But I was just rethinking everything, kind of. A few hours later, my contractions got a lot worse and longer and more strong. It was getting to the point where I just couldn't really take it anymore because I had been going for so long. And I was just kind of like, Derik, okay, I want to get the epidural, like, it's time. I don't want to keep breathing through these. I want to just like have some relief. And so they're like, okay, called the epidural guy in, Brian. The thing about me is I am so nervous about needles, and I hate needles, and I've been like that since I was little.
This thing's this long. I was literally not exaggerating. Like, that was the epidural needle.
I didn't want to know.
And when he was putting it together, it was like he was like some freaking assassin putting together a weapon. It was scary. It's like putting together this huge freaking sword. that he stabbed into Sarah's back. That's
I've gotten a lot better at needles just since being pregnant because
you get a shot every day.
You have to get poked a lot. Also, I get really nervous when I'm about to get a shot. I could not stop talking and like laughing at myself and just being like, Brian, you're such a good nurse.
I was like, is she drugged? She was acting so weird.
I think for some strange reason, if I'm really nice to the guy that's giving me a shot, that it's gonna be better or something. I did get the epidural. It definitely kind of hurt. Felt like a bee sting, kind of.
Yeah. Wasn't
too bad though.
So this is when you're at an 8, you got the epidural, right? Or were you a 9?
I was almost a 9. The contractions felt a lot better, but I noticed not too long after that I could feel like everything like on my right side. Like the contractions definitely felt a little better, but I could feel everything, like my leg, Derek touching me, I could still move my legs, like.
And then wasn't it just like pressure?
So much pressure. Like that was the worst part of the whole thing, was the pressure that I felt the entire time. I couldn't take it.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was so bad. And that's kind of another reason
miserable.
Why I'm thinking, I'm not sure, but I've talked to lots of people and they're thinking the epidural didn't work really like it should have for me, which makes sense. Like they tried to like push me onto my side and get it to flow and it just never did. I could feel everything and it was still so painful all the way up until I was pushing. I never slept either. That's the thing, I got the epidural, but I couldn't sleep. I was still in pain, so I never took a nap. Did you take a nap?
No, I didn't take a nap either.
So we still didn't sleep. Anyway, so then the nurses came in at one point and they were like, okay, we're gonna put you on Pitocin, get these started. They were waiting for my water to break. If some of you are thinking like, why is this taking so long? Why are they letting you go so long without giving you Pitocin? They wanted my water to break first, and then to speed up the process, they did give me Pitocin finally, because it just wasn't, nothing was really happening. It was all just came to a screeching halt, and hours and hours and hours went by. It was so sad. I was so tired, but I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Pitocin started to kick in. I noticed the contractions were getting a lot stronger. After however many hours it was, the nurses came in and I was so exhausted, but they're like, okay. And this is when I thought we were practice pushing, which we did do a few of practice pushes.
This was at like midnight probably.
And they're like, okay, so what you're gonna do, they walked me through it and I was just like, okay. So I thought, you know, we were just practicing. I didn't realize that my practice pushes were actually supposed to be real pushes.
I'm like film guy in there too, right? I had a lot of roles I had to play during this birth.
Yeah,
and so
Derek's got the camera and he didn't know it was actually happening.
Set up the camera right now to film. And they're like, all right, Sarah, push. And they're like, Dad, come over here, hold her leg. And I'm like, oh, this is some intense practice.
And then at one point I literally said, wait, is this it? Like, am I pushing? That's what I said.
And they're like, yeah, we're going.
Is this the birth?
We're like, oh, frick.
Because, oh wait, we missed, my water broke.
Oh yeah.
My water eventually broke at like 11:30.
Yeah.
And that was weird.
It popped.
It popped like
and I
warm
heard it
everywhere.
It was the weirdest thing in my life.
I guess that should have been my next clue, that pushing was gonna happen. I don't know what was happening. It was just weird.
You were delusional.
I was so delusional.
Like, you were out of
But
it.
you didn't know either.
No, I don't know. I didn't know anything.
But
like,
I guess.
Just the most surreal thing to witness. Just like, I've never been in a birth before, one. And so watching this happen and watching Sarah go through it, it's like witnessing a whole nother side of her. And like the just pain that she was in and like pushing a baby out. And oh yeah, it was crazy. I had planned on not witnessing anything. Like, I am so queasy when it comes to this stuff. You have no idea. Like, I almost passed out probably 10 times. And the nurses are like, hey, come hold her leg. And in that position that I was in, the only way I wouldn't see what was happening is if I was like this the whole time, like looking away. So it was kind of just right in my face, and I just had
He was forced to watch.
But something kind of came over me, and it was a ton of adrenaline, and so I was okay. But I was just kind of shaking the whole time. And the nurse was like, "Are you okay? Are you sure you can do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'm good." And then one of the nurses was like, "Dad, look, it's the baby's head." You just see his little head pop out. I don't know if this is way too much detail, but
you're almost finishing the story.
Sorry, you go to that part. But I saw his head pop out and I was just, what am I watching right now? This is insane.
Rewind.
Rewind.
So I pushed for about an hour. I felt like if I had to push one more time, I couldn't do it. It was so painful. The doctors told me that Jack was super posterior. I think that's what it's called, yeah. Posterior, and so he just kept hitting my pelvic bone, like going in and out, despite how hard I was pushing, and my face was seriously like a weird shade of purple, and I was
very dark purple.
So sweaty, so sweaty. I don't think I opened my eyes once the entire time I was pushing. I was literally just like pushing as hard as I freaking could.
And was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna die. She did one more push, and then the nurses were like, he's coming, he's coming. And then they pulled him out. That was gnarly. Like,
that is the weirdest thing.
The most insane thing that I have ever seen. Like, putting Jack on Sarah's chest, and I'm like looking at this baby, and it's,
wow, he actually pooped all over me.
Yeah.
First,
Sarah was covered in poop.
I was covered in his poop, which is actually a good thing because it's better that he did that instead of pooping inside, because then we'd have to. He had Marconium. Yeah. I was a Marconium baby. I got a
poop
tube.
Baby.
I was a poop baby. Got a tube shoved down my throat to suck out the poop. Too much info. He pooped all over me, and so the nurses were like cleaning me off, and honestly, I was completely in shock. It was so painful for me.
I was shaking, and the nurse next to me had to come and like put her hand on me and be like, "You did it, Dad, good job." And I was like about to pass out. My knees felt really weird.
I remember the nurses like not really being concerned about me. They were like concerned about Derik. They're like, "You need to sit down, like you don't look so good." And
pale.
He was just like pale. I have such a higher respect for like moms and giving birth and just all of it, going through it. I'm like, wow, women really are amazing.
Yeah, when we kind of came down from the adrenaline and realized what was happening, it was the most amazing moment ever, hands down.
I feel like we're only sharing like the pain and like the bad and everything, but after was the best thing. So worth it. So worth all the pain.
Worth it. I think that's what keeps people going back, because birth is gnarly, and it's like, I mean, for
like
some,
even now I'm like, okay, I could do it again. Like, and I'm only a month postpartum.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad enough. I mean, I definitely don't want to get pregnant right now. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But I'm just saying like, oh, I'm not as traumatized as I was like the first week after giving birth.
Yeah. But yeah, so finally when it came time for us to leave, we were like, okay, we don't get help from nurses anymore. Now it's like us. We gotta like change his diaper.
To be honest, I was so excited to go home.
I was nervous.
Derik was nervous and not super excited to go home, but I
just wanted to stay in the hospital.
He just kept like, it was the funniest thing. I just kept saying, okay, so like, let's pack our stuff, let's go home. And Derik just kind of like would do it really slow or just was taking his time. And I'm like, what are you doing? Let's go. And he's like, I don't want to go.
Well, okay, free food. They would change his diaper.
I guess in our defense, we didn't have like any family, which was great. I actually really liked that it was just us.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But normally you get help from family or whatever, and so.
Once we got home, it was great. Yeah. But getting to that point was really hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that happened after the birth, so.
Yeah, we're gonna cover that in part 2.
We're gonna do a part 2 because this always happens anytime we're like, we're gonna talk about it all in one video. It probably will turn into like 3 videos.
We talk too much.
But that's the birth story.
That is it.
As much detail as we can remember.
Yeah.
There's probably so much more that happened, but it's like.
It's really a blur, honestly. I forget. And we love our little guy. He's sleeping again. Look how big my hand looks.
That's a big hand. It's gonna die again. Hurry.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna die.
Okay. I can subscribe so that you're notified of our future videos, and so you don't miss our next video talking about our first week at home with Jack and how crazy it was for us because it was hard
It was
stuff.
a doozy. You guys are the best. Thank you for your love and support as always.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's it. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Derek always does this. Boom.
Do it. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it.
Boom.
That's fine. Come on, no better.
Bye-bye. I'm gonna do it with my tongue.
Derek, don't, no!
I didn't lick it.
Don't do that. No one wants to see your tongue.
After we do these, my cheeks hurt so bad from smiling, so I just gotta whoop.
Yeah.